Yeah, I think we are online and this time it has worked. Really apologize for all the trouble to you guys, and there has been some issue with the links that we are sending for the last 10-15 minutes. But I right now see we have at least 30 people watching, and without just wasting any more time, I'm just gonna pass the baton to Vishnu. We have with us Mr. Vishnu Subramaniam. He is the principal data scientist at Fan Analytics. He's also a deep learning expert who has written a book on it. And I'm just gonna now pass on the baton to Vishnu. Hi Vishnu, I'm really sorry for all the trouble. Please take the screen away.
Yeah, I'm assuming that you guys can see my screen. Can you just confirm it?
Yes, we can.
Oh, cool then. Sorry for making you all wait because of the technical glitches. Let's start looking into deep learning. Before we get into deep learning, I just want to introduce myself. What do I do? I'm an author of a book called Deep Learning Using PyTorch. I work as a principal data scientist for a company called Affine Analytics. I'm also a director of artificial intelligence at a company called Jiva Adventures. Apart from all these things, I'm a lifelong learner. I spend most of my time, whenever I'm not at office, whenever I'm not doing work, learning something new, and that keeps me going. Uh, you'll have some disturbances for some time since my kid just came in. So please bear with me. So what is deep learning? It's I know that deep learning has. Just give me a minute. I'll go on mute. Gonna give it. We'll just look into what is deep learning. It's a subfield of machine learning algorithms, which has taken up by surprise in the last few years. A lot of things which were assumed to be not possible to implement is being possible because of the latest advancements in deep learning. Some of the concepts in the deep learning are pretty old. They have been in the academics for more than 50 years, but there are a couple of breakthroughs like dropout, batch normalization, which had made a lot of success in deep learning and a lot of applications. And we'll go through a couple of them in today's session. I just want to structure how we're going to spend the next 15 to 20 minutes. We're going to look at the history of AI, when did it all start, and how did it progress, and machine learning at a very high level. Since this is not a session on machine learning, we're not getting into machine learning, but we all have to understand that under machine learning, there's one subfield called deep learning, and there are other different subfields like reinforcement learning, the traditional machine learning like random forest, XGBoost, and other things are there. And then what are the applications of deep learning and ease of access to hardware and software? So one of the common challenges for people who wanted to enter deep learning a year back or even a few months back was hardware access. Unless and until you are lucky enough to work for a very big company or you're a pretty rich guy, you may not be able to afford buying GPUs doing it. But these things have changed in the last few months to last few weeks. We'll look into how you guys can handle that. And then we'll also look at what kind of job requirements are there in the industry. There are different job requirements. We'll go through it. At the end, we'll see about some of the myths about AI due to over popularity from the media and other organizations. So, looking at the history, it almost started around 1950s. The term AI was framed by a guy called John McCarthy in 1956, and he held his first academic conference on the subject. One of the AI missions, one of the most complicated AI missions were built during World War II to decrypt a mission called Enigma, which was used to transfer a lot of information from Germany to and other countries. So Alan Turing helped the Britishers and others to crack the AI system. So to crack the Enigma system, building an AI system, and it ran in less than an hour, which humans used to take more than 6 to 8 weeks to decode the message generated by Enigma. And the decoded message but by the time the human analysts decode the message, it may not be the right time to take any action. The message could be pretty old, right? So the AI system which Alan Turing built was a breakthrough in the World War II, and it changed the course of history. And apart from that, there are other major concepts in deep learning which we will be using in the current uh, in the industry right now. Lot of them have been borrowed from a lot of old techniques like gradient boosting or backpropagation. A lot of things that we can get into technical, but these things, why they were not working was there were certain missing pieces which was figured in the last few years. Along with that, the great amount of data increase, availability of data increase, availability of label data, and availability of hardware made a great change in how we access these algorithms. So the very high level overview, when people actually say AI, in the last few years you would have been hearing AI in media and everywhere. What they actually mean is deep learning algorithms that are actually doing a lot of things in computer vision or NLP or even structured data in the last few months, where companies like Instacart, Netflix have been uh, openly announcing that they have been using deep learning algorithms, and they've changed a lot of algorithms that they built over the last few years, and it requires a lot of less domain experience than what they used to need when they used to try with traditional machine learning algorithms like random forest or XGBoost or other models. So, what is machine learning at a very high level? Let's assume that how we traditionally program. I'm assuming that although everyone on the call is some kind of has some experience in programming, right? So we have certain rules which we convert that into some programming logics using for loops, if else conditions, while loops, and other data structures. And then this becomes a function or probably an object of a class, and we pass in the data to that and we generate an answer. This is how traditional programming was working, and it is going to work for many more years to come. What machine learning changes is, instead of a human writing all these rules, we give the machine learning algorithms a set of things that it can play with, a lot of mathematical operations that it can apply on data, and we also let it know what are the answers that it needs to generate with a particular input data. And what the machine learning algorithm spits out is a bunch of rules, which starting from very simple rules to very complex rules. The algorithms like linear regression or logistic regression, which has been for more than 20, 30 years, have been very popular because of the understanding that they provide, ease of use and all. But today's generation deep learning algorithms are way complex for humans to understand. So you are currently in an era where people have been researching and doing an extensive research on how to understand what goes inside a deep learning algorithm rather than using a black box. Some of the challenges of traditional machine learning algorithms. One biggest challenge with any of the traditional machine learning techniques is a huge requirement of domain expertise. You need to understand the domain. And for computer vision in different fields like biology, human pathology, and natural language processing, right? It's very difficult to understand. For example, to even build something, a very simple sentiment classifier, which is way possible today. Few years back, a huge number of linguists used to sit, they used to create a huge number of complex rules, and they used to build. And the accuracy of those models used to be way less than the accuracy of the models that we can see in the today's world, right? So machine learning algorithms, the traditional algorithms like random forest or naive-Bayes classifier or linear regression or logistic regression, used to be good with certain kind of data, but not with all kind of data, in particularly computer vision or natural language processing, or problems, even the structured data, where you have a huge amount of domain expertise required. One of common myth is deep learning is not well suited for structured data, but it's often a myth. A lot of companies are proving that it's wrong. In fact, in our organization, we extensively use deep learning for handling a lot of structured problems. Some of the examples of machine learning in real life, machine learning has become almost a part of our day-to-day life. We almost coexist with them. One of the examples is whenever you take a photo, assuming that you use Android or probably iOS, all your photos are grouped together. You can search for photos of by your name once you tag it, or probably your kid's name, your wife's name, or your friend's name. You can group it automatically, which previously used to be a huge task where humans used to annotate the albums, and they used to group them together. All of this is being automated. All you just need to do is take a photo, upload it to your cloud provider. Almost the privacy is still a constraint, assuming that Google and Apple don't use these photos for evil purposes, right? Apart from these fancy things, there are other things like Netflix recommendations, what movies you're gonna like, what TV series you're gonna like, Amazon, iTunes. Like I heard certain songs and I may not have heard of a particular album or a musician, right? And iTunes helped me to recommend them and gives both the consumer as well as the producer cutting edge chance, right? So these are some of the few applications of machine learning. There are many more like self-driving cars, which have been in research for the last 10 years, and they're becoming more of a reality. And there are simpler use cases like when you take a photo of your friend, or you take a selfie. Most of the modern mobile phones that are coming in the last 6 months are coming with something called AI camera. What they exactly mean is they use DL algorithms to enhance your photos, even though they are of less complexity. If you can dig into more of, whenever people say AI and you dig more into it, you realize that it's actually some form of machine learning algorithm or deep learning algorithm, and not really complex. So what makes deep learning so special, right? As I said, machine learning is really good when you have a very good domain expertise, when you can do all the feature extraction by yourself to a point. But domain experts are not easily available. And for computer problems like computer vision or NLP, you don't know what features to extract. When I say features, they're basically attributes that can predict that this image is a dog, or this is a human face, or this particular text is positive. Vishnu is talking something positive about deep learning, or Vishnu is talking something negative about deep learning. To understand this, linguists have to come up with different features about the text or computer vision. What deep learning does is it gives you enormous amount of techniques to help you extract a lot of features, right? If you look at the slide here on the left side, you can see an image which kind of captures the edges. And in the middle image, you kind of capture the eyeballs, the eyebrows, the nose, and other essential parts of a human face. And in the right side, you can see that it's almost figuring out that there is a face, right? So all of these things, before we started training the deep learning algorithm, it was not aware of these things. Just during the training part, the algorithm learns that these are the features that are very essential to recognize that it's a human face, or is it a dog, or the text is positive or negative. It does all these things automatically. And we have certain algorithms like gradient descent, Adam Boost, RMS prop, and there are different optimizers or algorithms which help this model to figure out these features, which in a few years back used to be a very manual task and very tough task. Let's see some of the applications. I'll just list out a few popular applications. Near human level image classification in certain areas, like identifying 10,000 categories of datasets. Humans are also asked to do the same task, and the performance was compared. In certain tasks, algorithms prove to be much better than humans in certain tasks in a very constrained environment, not in general environment. And near human level speech recognition, one thing to have realized is Google voice used to be very bad few months back, but if you see in the last 6 to 8 months, it has improved a lot. It is able to recognize even your most of our Indian slangs, regional languages, or sometimes with a lot of background noise. Machine translation has improved a lot. The new applications have been coming in, like Lens, which can translate it from some other language to your native language. Autonomous cars, which is more of more to this future, but it's something which is happening right now. There are certain roads, there are certain ways in which autonomous cars still exist today, and the assistants like Siri, Google Voice, Alexa, becoming more and more accurate, trying to understand contextual part of it. Still, it's not good in understanding contextual, but it's still trying to do a good job. And it's not just the big companies doing it. There are even small farmers who are taking the advantage of deep learning. One example is a Japanese farmer who used deep learning, particularly TensorFlow, to sort the cucumbers which his parents produce. So his mom and dad has a huge cucumber farm, not a very huge, a very small farmer family. They have a cucumber, but he saw his mother taking almost few days, or they have to take labor and share their profits to sort out this cucumber. And each the cucumbers are generally priced based out of the sizes of the cucumber, right? So the son of the farmer, what he did is he picked up TensorFlow. He learned a couple of things. He introduced the deep learning algorithms with a couple of mechanical things, and he built a complete system which sorts cucumbers. And he's not a Stanford or a Berkeley or a Google employee or a Apple employee. He's just a son of a farmer with not a fancy degree. And the other things like lung cancer detection, we are making huge progress in these areas. How do we provide specialized care to people even living in remote areas, right? You may not have an expert doctor available across the globe. Expert doctors are generally available for the richest, or probably there could be expert doctors who are generous enough who can be working in certain villages. How amazing it would be if this specialization is available for everyone across the globe, everyone living in Africa or living in India, a remote village. They can do that probably just going to a nearby post office or nearby small medical place, or even using their mobile phone and detecting that, oh, they are not at risk of something, or they're at risk of something, they need immediate medication, right? That's such an amazing thing that's going on. Language translation is again another amazing thing going on. It's almost beating human level accuracy in different spaces. This is at a very high level. Let's also look at some of the examples. Most of the companies, for example, one of our client had a problem where their business analyst has to go through huge number of reports to take a decision, right? So the solution that we came up with was, can we create a summarized content of the entire document, 30-page document or 40-page document, in a 3 or 4 line, identifying what is important and what is not important, right? That's one use case that we worked on, and that is also one of the application. It's not all serious. There are all some fun applications also. As you can see here, it's image captioning. Can deep learning algorithms recognize what is that in this image, right? So if you look at the caption here, it has not recognized it 100% accurately. I'm assuming that's a mom and a kid playing with the Lego toys, but the algorithm thinks it's two young girls are playing with the Lego toy. But it's still done a good job, right? We're far ahead from what we used to be a few years back. And can a deep learning algorithm generate a story from images, right? If you take a moment to read the text on the right side of the image, you realize that it's not actually someone has written, but the model has come up with some kind of story just looking at the image. I'll just read out the story for you. The story says, he was a shirtless man in the back of his mind, and I let out a curse as he leaned over to kiss me on the shoulder. He wanted to strangle me, considered to be beautiful boy. I had become wearing his boxes, right? If you just look at few words, you find it's almost realistic. But as humans, we know that when we read completely, it doesn't make sense, right? But at least it has learned that there are two sumo fighters fighting each other, and he's almost close to his shoulders, looking almost like he's going to kiss his shoulder, and they are doing a lot of stuff that is able to understand these things, right? So that's something pretty much interesting. And one thing I was amazed when I was creating this slides is, I'm not a PowerPoint guy, I'm more of a technical guy, so I spend most of the time using Python, TensorFlow, or PyTorch. When I was creating those slides, I was thinking that creating slides is not my cup of tea, but I was surprised when Microsoft PowerPoint, for every slide I create, a very dumb slide that I create, PowerPoint gives me a huge number of design ideas. I'm pretty sure that you're using some kind of machine learning algorithm or a deep learning algorithm to figure out what kind of design ideas will make it more presentable, right? For the previous slide that I showed you, Microsoft PowerPoint gave me a couple of design ideas. Where do I keep my title? Where do I keep my image? Where do I keep the storyline? And where do I keep the title of the image? Right? It's such an amazing time to be in. Even in our day-to-day applications, right? When you try to respond back, probably in a LinkedIn request, or when you're trying to respond back to your email, you don't need to really type nowadays. Almost short replies are already provided by companies like Gmail, Microsoft, or LinkedIn, based on the context of your email, right? And this is also an application of deep learning, which Google and other companies have been working in the last few years. And it's not just these big companies can do these things; even smaller companies are able to come up with these things with the advancement to the technology that is happening in the last few months to years. All this is good, but do you really need to have so many GPUs, powerful hardware, supercomputers to really do this? It used to be true a year back or two. I had to spend a lot of money. My company had to spend a lot of money to train our people to get these things, learn these things, and implement these things. But things are changing now. There are startups like Crizzle.com, Paperspace, Floyd, which helps you to set up a GPU-based deep learning instance in a matter of seconds, with few clicks, without you really wondering about installing of the softwares, deciding which hardware to choose, what GPU to choose, how much RAM you need. But they all come with a cost. You can pay something like 40 cents to $1 per hour. If that's not affordable for you, there are still cheaper instances available, or even free instances available. There is something called collab.research.google.com, which offers you free GPUs. And Kaggle recently introduced kernels with GPUs for free, absolutely free. So now you can learn deep learning without really investing on hardware, right? So once you get comfortable, I would recommend to always have a GPU handy if you really want to do some extensive research, because all those free ones really are not very fast. They are good enough to learn for the first probably 3 months or 6 months. They do a very good job for completely free. But once you get into advanced stuff, you need to do extensive. You need to invest basically on your hardware. There are other players like Amazon Spot instances, or Google also have something called on-demand spot or on-demand instances, which gives GPU-based instances for very less cost than actually it is, right? So you can look at those things also. It's not just the hardware that can make deep learning more accessible. The frameworks also need to become evolved to make it more accessible for data scientists, right? So some of the modern frameworks like Keras, PyTorch, or TensorFlow makes deep learning very much accessible for data scientists, right? That's a very, very interesting time to be in. And let's look at some of the job requirements based on the industry needs, right? Uh, any person who can claim that he's a TL expert or he has worked on computer vision or NLP, when he comes for an interview, probably the first bunch of questions are not really in deep learning, right? It's mostly on a particular programming language. Preferably it's Python, but we and most of the companies are pretty flexible with the language. So you should be very comfortable with one programming language, because if you don't know how to program in Python or program in some other language, it doesn't make sense for you to actually say, I can do something in computer vision or NLP, because all these things expect you to be pretty much hands-on, right? And then once you know a particular language, then what do we test on? Do you have a strong foundation or at least one framework? When I say framework, a couple of frameworks, popular ones are Keras, PyTorch, TensorFlow, and others. And then we ask you to explain for projects that you can demonstrate in areas like computer vision or natural language processing. So with these top three, you can get a job in most of the deep learning jobs or machine learning jobs. We'll be happy to get you. So the next level of jobs are a bit more complex in nature. where you'd be required to understand research papers and ability to summarize them. That becomes a very key part of it. This gives you access to bigger companies, more product-based companies, more research-oriented companies, or if you're planning for a PhD or a master's, that helps you. If you're able to implement the algorithms just by looking at the papers, and that becomes a much more niche skill to have. So I've ordered those in the importance level, the basic importance being ability to program in a particular language, preferably Python, and then good understanding of at least one framework, PyTorch, TensorFlow, or Keras. Demonstration of projects in areas like computer vision, NLP is the next big important thing. And the last two that you see are more of a fancy. It's good to have if you have those skills that you end up getting paid higher. You have more job opportunities in research companies, product companies, and big companies. But you can still do a lot of useful things with the just top three. What are the myths about AI? If you have been reading about AI or machine learning in the newspaper, a lot of people have been talking about things like Terminator 2 Judgment Day could become a reality as AI advances. But the reality is, we don't need to be afraid, at least for the next few years, as deep learning practitioners. Once you start learning about deep learning or machine learning, you realize they're more of a pattern matching. When I say pattern matching, they have ability to recognize if these patterns are there, then it's a human face. If these patterns are there, then it's probably a dog. If these patterns are there, that's a positive sentence. He's talking something positive, right? It doesn't have the ability to make decisions on its own, right? It's going to be just like a function, like any other functions that we have written, just that it can learn more from the data. So ability of AI is exaggerated far beyond its true capabilities at the moment, right? The current deep learning algorithms or artificial intelligence is just good at one specific thing. What the media talks us about is something called artificial general intelligence, which is still a topic of research till date. We are making progress, but even the top researchers like Ian Goodfellow or Jeffrey Hinton or Jeff Dean think it's probably a few hundreds of years away. So I'm done from my side. You guys have any questions? We can go ahead.
Yeah, so that was okay. That was a really insightful session, Vishnu. I have a couple of questions from the viewers for you. One of the very basic question that somebody wants to understand, that why should he go ahead and do a machine learning or an artificial intelligence course and not a data science course? So Vishnu, if you can just take away this and yeah, help him
Yeah,
understand.
sure. Data science is also a subfield of AI. So the major difference in data science and ML and deep learning is becomes a specialization. Either you can take something like data science and then you can be specialized in the general part of it. I'm pretty sure most of the data science schools are a lot of generalists, so we really are looking for experts rather than general.
That's exactly what we were talking about earlier, that generalist versus specialist. Deep learning is definitely one of the in specialization that the recruiters are looking for. And on that note, there is a question from an engineer fresher who wants to know, can he become a deep learning expert after doing a program on deep learning without any prior knowledge in machine learning, or no prior job knowledge or industry knowledge per se? Right now he's a fresher. So Vishnu, can you help us with that?
One biggest advantage you have is a lot of people in deep learning are really freshers. They don't have prior experience per se in deep learning unless and until you have been working in bigger companies. Uh, just by completing a particular course, you may not be called an expert because there'll be hundreds of people probably joining a grad course or some other course company. So, what would differentiate you from others is, can you showcase some projects which are done as probably part of your course or part of done part of your hobby, right? That would give a really cutting edge and a differentiator from you and others. Once you can show some demonstration, it doesn't matter whether you got the experience from the industry or from the college or from your hobby or from some course. As long as you have something to show, we are always happy to do.
Yeah, that's great, Vishnu. One more question, just I think the last one for you right now is, one of the person wants to know that what is the level of expertise he needs to gain in machine learning first before getting into the deep learning part itself.
Okay. So understanding machine learning is always helpful to learn deep learning better, but there are areas where there's a higher overlap and there are areas where there is no overlap. So if you understand something like linear regression, logistic regression, and what happens inside these things, the loss function is a pretty common, and you will be able to quickly learn deep learning. If you're directly jumping into deep learning, you'll have trouble. You'll go back when each of these concepts comes, and then you learn what we
bother you once more. There's one specific question wherein a viewer wants to know what is the real use cases of deep learning in some common industries. Maybe if he's planning to target of e-commerce industry or a retail industry or a finance industry, what are the kind of jobs he should be targeting or looking for? What are the kind of job profile or work that he's gonna do there?
So most of the companies right now in India are focusing on two specific areas. One is computer vision and one is NLP. For computer vision, you can look at automobile companies, manufacturing companies, where they're extensively looking out to use these techniques to find out defective pieces if they're manufacturing a huge number of products down the line. Or some of the automobile companies are looking for use cases where they want to detect something. Is a particular part rusty? If it's rusty, how far it is from damage, right? So a particular part of a car can be rusty. Can I do it automatically that it's rusty and it have a higher chance of failure in the next 6 months? And so can I send a warning to the user saying that you have to replace it? This is one use case. And NLP, most insurance companies, medical companies, pharma companies have huge use cases in NLP. They have huge transcripts or they have insurance copies. They want to identify if they're fraudulent use cases, particularly in the insurance case. In the pharma case, they want to identify if there are common symptoms of which doctors are missing because they're just looking at one patient. If we look at it at a very global scale, looking at millions of patients, can be there are very few people who are actually good at reporting.
Okay, great, Vishnu. I mean, on that follow-up question, during your presentation, there's a viewer Jaydeep who said that you can use any programming. You said that you can use any programming knowledge, but as far as I know, we must only know Python. Or if is it so, how proficient should one be in Python to start learning, start applying for machine learning jobs?
Okay. So there's a very high probability that most of the machine learning jobs today use Python. Secondary languages are. Third, there are very languages like Java, Scala to productionize these applications. So if you're looking for a job which is masses easily available, then I would say Python is very essential. The only exception being is you can be an expert in deep learning and you're trying to productionize it, and that's the reason you're not a Python guy or Python girl. You're focusing more on something like Scala or Java because you're on the production side. So irrespective of which area you're in, you need to be really good at it. And I say really good at it, you need to know how do you do pre-processing for a computer vision problem, how do you do pre-processing for an NLP problem, right? So a couple of questions that we generally ask are very basic in nature, right? Like something like writing a Fibonacci series in Python. We give you the logic of sometimes it's required. If it answers this question, then we go to the next advanced questions in computation and NLP. If he's not able to answer very basic questions, then it doesn't make sense for us to know whether he knows CV or anything. I would say it's good to start with deep learning, but always make sure that your fundamentals are strong.
Great. Thanks, Vishnu. Thanks a lot for that insightful session for today. I hope that all of you viewers would have gained a lot of insights on deep learning from the session today. And I'm going to take few minutes of your time to just talk about the program that we are launching and through IIIT Bangalore. on machine learning and deep learning. As very rightly said by Vishnu today, as that a lot of more and more people are now focusing on specialists rather than generalists, and therefore there will be a time in the next few years where deep learning would have gained that level of specialization which the recruiters or industry would be hunting for. And but before you build that expertise on deep learning, it is very essential for you to build a core foundation machine learning knowledge for yourself, and that's how this program has been designed. The program is a 6-month certificate program, and in the first 4 months of the program you would be rigorously going through the concepts of machine learning. If I have to divide this entire 6 months, I would divide it into 4 very specific, very cutting edge modules that you will go through, starting right from the statistics essentials, right, as Vishnu said, that it is very essential for you to have a good programming knowledge, at least in one of the language. And predominantly nowadays, if you see industries, across industry, Python is the language of the choice. And therefore here in this program we are gonna teach you that the entire program, your modules, your assignments, your case studies, you'll be doing on Python. Now there's a question that was asked during the session by Vishnu, that I don't have any programming knowledge. Would I be the right person to do this program? And here I just want to tell you that you don't need to have a rigorous computer expertise right now to learn deep learning or machine learning. Whatever domain knowledge you have of your discipline will actually help you build your machine learning or deep learning model. If you have learned any data science language, like R or Excel or Python, it's great. But if you are just have studied, you're a STEM proficient, and you should be able to delve into the to the programming language, capture it, learn it with ease. And therefore, as a content, I'm sorry, as just helping you out with that, we have a 1 month prep content which start before the program, which would help you learn that language in case you don't have that expertise right now. It will start with your introduction of Python. It will take you through how Python is used for data analysis, how you brush up the entire skill of your maths with linear algebra, matrix, and all that. And before the program starts, you would be well versed with how to use Python for your forthcoming programs. Now, coming to the part where the actual program will start, like I said, it'll start with the basic. It'll start with your statistical essentials, where will take you through your hypothesis testing with your Z test, T test, and everything. And then once you'll do an individual case study in that. And once you've gained expertise in this first module, and for each module you will go through case studies, you will go through multiple choice questions, you will go through tests that you have to go before you clear, and then go move on to the second module or the third module. Now, talking a bit about the second and the third module, this is the core module which will build your machine learning expertise, right? Starting from building your foundational machine learning to an advanced level. Like rightly said by Vishnu here, that before you start delving into deep learning, obviously you need to have a core knowledge about machine learning models, about what is logistic regression, what is linear regression, how do you use clustering, decision trees. These are the things we'll be teaching you in the second and the third module, building the deep expertise on machine learning, and in the last you go into deep learning. Now, as deep learning, as Vishnu had elaborately explained, is all about ANN, or artificial neural network, which we use in deep learning to create those complex model that has the capability to derive insight like a human being. So this is where the entire 2 months, the last 2 months of the program, is where you'll focus on deep learning and neural network. As said by Vishnu, you will have access to the infrastructure from our end. You will have library access from TensorFlow and Keras. And end of the day, you will be doing this cutting edge project, which is very essential for anybody who is looking to upskill or upgrade to a new career right now. Is the project that you do using this models, right? But at the end of the day, these are the projects you will put on your resume, or this is a project you would talk about to your recruiters or to your fellow colleagues, to showcase your understanding on your depth level in this program. So in this program, we have designed two very cutting edge projects on deep learning. One of them is the medical imaging system, right? Like Vishnu was explaining how image recognition happens. This is exactly the project where you will go through that. You will diagnose the illness using the deep neural network model that will build, that will churn out the medical images. When I say medical images, the CT scans and MRIs and all that, millions and millions of those images to figure out a model that will diagnose illness, basis that network. This is one of the cutting edge project in the medical industry right now, and you're going to do that as a group project. There'll be also an individual project. You will analyze the traffic analytics system. Now, you in that traffic analytics system, you essentially build and deploy an automatic traffic analytics system that will identify the hit and run rates on the road. Right now, each of these traffic signals, you have cameras who are capturing millions of photos every day, and they are trying to understand which of the vehicles jumped the light, which of the vehicle is involved in an accident, and how do they analyze this data and how do they build this model. There are so many photos on a daily basis across the country, right? I think Bangalore has already implemented something like that. And so these are the two really cutting edge case studies that you will be doing to build your expertise in the deep learning domain. And yeah, I mean, that is exactly why we had created this program in the first place. After so like I was earlier speaking, I mean, after months of researching with institute, with triple IT Bangalore faculty, with industry experts from Google, Flipkart, there's Google, there's Flipkart, and there's other startup. I just can't remember the name right now. But we found out that deep learning is gonna gain that momentum in the next 3-4 years. There is that scope of the next million jobs coming out of this particular technology, and it is essential right now to build that expertise amongst people who are interested to build their career in machine learning and deep learning. I mean, there are a lot of examples of deep learning which you could just go and Google it out. There is Alexa, there is Siri, there's this really great example of deep learning which is Google AlphaGo. I'm sure you would have heard about it, or if not, you can just go and Google it. This Google created this really computer program that learned how to play abstract game, which is a board game called as Go. It's a very popular game in US, and this game requires really sharp intellect and intuition. And by playing against several of these players, this Google AlphaGo deep learning model learned how to play at a level that has never seen before by any artificial intelligence model right now. And without being told, that's the beauty of a deep learning model. In any other traditional machine learning model, there has to be an interference from the human end, but without being told what to do, how should you make a specific move in that play, the model itself learned on itself. It caused quite a stir when that model was able to defeat multiple renowned masters of the game. And that is the beauty of a deep learning model. I mean, if you have to draw draw a graph with performance of a model to the amount of data. Let's say the data being on the x-axis, and performance be on the y-axis. On a traditional machine learning model which you build, it'll obviously increase as you increase the amount of data, but after a certain point of time it starts to plateau. And that's where deep learning gets interesting, because the more data you feed to a deep learning model, the more it keeps on learning, and the more the performance goes on increasing. That's the beauty of the deep learning model. So essentially, because of the artificial neural network that we are talking about, building layer after layer. Like 40 years ago, neural network were just 2 layers deep, and because it was not computationally feasible to build larger network. Now with big data coming of age, we have the capability of of storing huge and million petabytes amounts of data. So it is now common to have neural network with 10 layers, or more than 100 layers are being right now tried upon. So you essentially can stack layers of neuron on top of each other, right? Like the lowest layer will take the raw images, like your images, text, sounds, everything, and then each neuron will store some information above that as the encounter. Each neuron in that layer will send information to the next layer of neuron, which will learn something abstract version of the data below. So the higher you go up, the more abstract feature you can learn. And that's the beauty of deep learning, and that's why it is the only technology right now that is so close to building a real artificial intelligence network, right? So that's about us. That's about the program. That's about why you should learn deep learning. To answer some of the queries that we have, like from Puneet, who says, my background is in infrastructure like server commissioning and installation, don't have any experience in programming language. Your interest require clearing the program text. Puneet, I want to go ahead and say you that this is a postgraduate certificate program, which is a 6 month program. It doesn't have any selection test as of now. The only criteria to get enrolled in this program or to get your profile vetted from the admission committee is that you should have at least 50% or above mark in your graduation. You should send us your profile at dl@upgrad.com, and the admission committee is going to view your profile, and then we'll let you know whether basis on your profile you have got selected for the program or not. Like I said, you have no prior experience in the programming language. I think I've already said that before. Essentially, if you have a mathematical aptitude, you can very well capture and understand any language. And in the prep content session, which you will get access to as soon as you enroll, there is one complete month wherein you will go through the Python, introduction to Python, how to run Python models, data analysis to Python, and we will make sure that we build that expertise of yours in Python before you go on to do the actual program. Okay. Sure. So, is it how many lectures? Shivraj has asked me how many lectures per week in the program and for how long. Okay, Shivraj, I just should take one quick minute to tell you what is the model of this program. This is a purely academic program which is delivered online, which means that once you enroll in this program, we'll make sure that you go through a rigorous set of learning journey, to be able to come out successful and able to clear your test and with the required GPA to secure the certificate program. And how many lectures this week? So every week for every module, you will have a set of recorded videos that you need to consume on your own and give the test and the case studies. And then there will be 3 to 4 live lectures a month. These live lectures would be taken by industry experts, would be taken by professors from IIIT Bangalore. You need to attend this session, and you need to along with attending session, you need to also go through those videos regularly, give test and clear each module. Only after you clear one module will you be able to go to the second module. At this point of time, I would also like to tell you that each one of these learners would have a student success manager who will guide you through the entire learning journey, will make sure that you are on path, you are on top of everything. Okay. Ms. Atul Kumar asks, "Is this available to few people only?" Atul, it's not available to few people only. Yes, there are limited number of seats for this program right now. Since this is the first batch, we are restricting the number of seats to 50 right now. And the sooner you enroll, the sooner you will be part of this program. So anybody who's interested to be part of this program has to just drop in a mail at DL, D for data, L for learning, dl@upgrad.com, and with your profile details. And I say profile details, I mean your name, email address, phone number, your graduation mark, your graduation discipline, as in did you graduate as a BTech, as a BCA, as a BBA, as a BCom, or if you are a postgraduate, MBA, MCA, MTech, and all that. And maybe your work profile, if you're where you're currently working, and what is your job profile. And we'll have your candidature forward to the admissions team of IIIT Bangalore, and we'll let you know if you get selected. Is it a new course, Atul? Yes, it is definitely a new course. It is a course that has been launched post months of research by IIIT faculty, with Upgrad researchers, with industry experts. And I think I've already told earlier, but this was the program which is a postgraduate certificate program in machine learning and deep learning, which is created to build well-rounded machine learning experts with deep learning as a specialization for them. Yeah. What is the course fee, Puneet? It's 85,000 plus GST. Recorded videos are not interactive, Jadev. Okay. Yes, you're right, the recorded videos are not interactive. In the case, therefore, we have live and interactive classes also as part of the program, which would be with industry experts from Google, Flipkart, Gramner, Viacom, etc., and also from IIIT faculties as well. In the case where they are not having live sessions and there are recorded videos, we'll make sure that like I said, each one of you will get your own student success manager, whose only job is to make sure that you have gone through the videos, you have understood. If you have any queries, we'll connect you with the relevant industry, either an industry expert or either a professors from IIIT Bangalore, to get that query sorted. You will have a discussion forum. A discussion forum is essentially where every learner for this particular program would be a part of that forum, and you can post your queries, a question, and get answered. So yes, we are gonna make sure, and we have actually done it. It is as interactive as it gets in this program. Okay. Just give me Ankit says, how do you propose to help out in carrying out projects during this learning tenure, since every use case will be different and will require logic and procedure? Good question, Ankit. Like I said earlier, there's gonna be two real cutting edge projects for you. One will be a group project wherein you'll sit with the will work collaboratively on this project with your other learners, and that is the project which I was talking about, which is a medical imaging system. How do you propose to help out carry out this project? You will have guidance from IIIT professors. You will have guidance from industry experts to help you understand the project, the objective of the project, help you think through how should you think to the project, what are the data you will need on the project, what are the kind of models that you should apply on this project, on the data to build the model and all. During like I said, the infrastructure would be provided. You would have library access, you would have NVIDIA access the entire time for the entire 2 months of when you're going through your deep learning model. So we'll make sure, you should understand this fact that this is an academic project, academic program. Each of these group projects or this case studies or the test has certain credit score associated to itself, right? It's just like doing a postgraduate program from any college. So we have to make sure that you achieve that desired credit to even pass out from this program essentially with flying colors. So we make sure that you get the required amount of assistance, not just in terms of the infrastructures or the libraries like TensorFlow and Keras, but just guidance from industry experts, from professors, doubt clearing sessions, understanding the project sessions, everything, so that you and monitor your monitor your progress of the project at intervals by our student management team to make sure that you achieve that required credit to you pass in the program. Yeah. Great. So yes, there is somebody is asking me, is there a referral bonus available for this program? Yes, Atul. Right now we are offering 5,000 as a referral bonus. So anybody who refer any a friend or a colleague or anybody would get a offer 5,000 on their own program, and the referee, the one you have referred, will also get a 5,000 off. And somebody who is already have done a course with us in the previous and now just wants to go ahead and refer can also do that. And in any of the program he's undertaking with us right now, he'll get a bonus of 5,000. Yeah. Okay. Where do we see the course content, Subbu? Subbu, once you enroll for the program, you would get access to the learning platform of UpGrad. You will start your learning journey from day one. So once you enroll, we are going to share you the prep content on the very next day, and you can start learning the prep content from day one. So essentially, I've told you that the prep content is to build your expertise in the data science language, Python being the language of choice. Like Vishnu clearly mentioned, that more and more, in fact, 80-90% of the industry right now are using Python as the predominant language, and that is the language that we are teaching. The entire program is on Python. Therefore, the first 1 month of the prep content, which you'll get the access, is build your expertise in Python. And once you have enrolled for the program by paying the initial amount, you will get access to the content from day one, and you will go through the prep content, and the program will start by 30th September. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Balaji, it's a 6 months program. So, I think we have exceeded our time. I want to really apologize for the technical glitches that we encountered. We are supposed to start at 12 and we started at 12:30. And, I really want to thank Vishnu once again for being so patient with us and attending the session, even though he had certain prior commitments. So somebody jokingly mentioned that, is this gonna be how the program platform is gonna be? So I just want to tell that this is not the platform that we are gonna use for the program. We have a dedicated learning platform which UpGrad has created with the state-of-the-art IT infrastructure, which you would get access to once you enroll for the program. And then all of the learners are then onboarded onto that platform, and then your learning journey predominantly happens on that platform, which is as smooth as it gets. Yeah. I think I have answered most of your queries. Okay, there is Subbu who wants to know, would like to know if there is any assistance in hunting the job. I like your question, Subbu, hunting the job. Okay, so this is a 6-month certificate program from IIIT Bangalore, which is created at building your core foundational expertise on machine learning with either deep learning as a specialization for you. But in terms of job assessments, if you're asking for job placements, direct assistance in terms of uh, providing you with connecting you with the relevant recruiters, this is something that the 6 months program is not offering. And I'm really glad, Subbu, you mentioned it, because it has actually just gone out of my mind. I just wanted to mention that this is a 6 months program, wherein at the end of the 6 months program, if you're able to secure a 3 CGPA, you're postgraduate, you'll be awarded a postgraduate certificate from IIIT Bangalore. You'll get a IIIT Bangalore alumni status. But later on, if you still want to pursue the PG diploma program, which is the 11-month flagship course that was launched, you can still upgrade yourself to a diploma by the next 5 months. You can do the next 5 months in the diploma. You can enroll in the diploma and carry on to learn for the next 5 months, and at the end of this 5 months you would be awarded a postgraduate diploma in machine learning and artificial intelligence. And this is where, Subbu, we will be able to provide you a complete placement assistance in terms of resume building, connected you with the relevant industry expert for guidance, mock interviews, and also connecting you with relevant recruiters in the field of machine learning, data science, and AI. Yeah. The program is a flexible program for working professionals. That's the answer. I think I have answered most of the questions. I'm just gonna, somebody mentioned that, can you put on the email? Can you just tell me what is the email ID once again, so that I can forward my candidature? So I'm gonna also write it on the chat window for everybody to copy from there. It's D as in data, L as in learning @upgrad.com. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for taking out time on a Saturday afternoon and attending this session. And apologize once again for the technical glitch that we encountered. You have the email ID. Go on, shoot your queries, any queries that you have on the email ID, and rest assured that you will get a call back in the next 24 to 48 hours. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.